I'm Neil.
This is hilarious.
No, this is funny. I like this.
Take three.
How's your reading skills? You got this down?
I got this. It's my name, right?
Yeah, just.
Hi, I'm Alex, aka Rozen Talk,
I'm Neil.
and we are Swimforward,
This podcast is about our journey of progression.
and we simply want to share it.
Through debating issues, present and past,
Learning new ways of living, thinking, and being,
with a view to improve our mind, body, and soul.
we are literally starting from zero, like zero. Where we end up, no one knows.
But we're moving forward.
And
this is our journey.
So welcome to, this is our third take. This is our third take.
number 3.
Take number 3. So yeah, so I've got this locked down. I should have it down. Welcome. We are Swimforward. I'm Alex, aka Rozen Child.
I'm Neil, sorry.
And this is our second podcast. The first podcast obviously went through a lot more about ourselves, so you actually know who's actually speaking to you and kind of get an idea of why we're speaking to you. This podcast is one where you're going to actually find out a little bit more about what the journey consists of, what we're looking to gain from this journey, what we're looking to give from this journey, what we're looking to share. So we've got a bit of a title for this, and it's mindset, with a kind of subtitle of completion, and we'll come into the reason why we're saying we're going to put completion there, but it is just, we're going to talk about our mindsets, where we are presently, what we're looking to do, what we're doing at the moment. I did have sections, but we're going to scrap that for a little bit, but we're still going to keep it 5 minutes at this point, just to, because I waffle, as you saw from the last video, that it's not actually Neil that waffles, it's me. So, shoot it off, we got 5 minutes.
Which is a surprise. I would have thought it would have been me that waffled. But hey, that happens.
That's
So
fine.
hi,
Set your timer.
we're going to set this timer here. We're going to talk about mindsets now, and sort of where we are at this point, present time, and how we've got to it quickly. I've recently taken myself out of my comfort zone, and I've done it deliberately because I found that I needed to sort of improve myself to be able to improve my life. I wasn't particularly happy where I was. No particular reason, but I probably wasn't very happy with myself. Where did this all start? So I was given a book called The Power of Now by a friend of mine, which was written by Eckhart Tolle. Fantastic book about sort of mindsets and sort of how happiness really comes internally. It doesn't come from your outward sort of structures. Most people know this, but this book really sort of emphasizes it. And it sort of talks about mind chatter. So how your brain keeps just sort of talking at you and making you believe things. Basically, we have so many thoughts a day. I think there's something like, I don't know, I think there's somewhere 50,000 thoughts a day. Most of them are completely irrelevant. But these thoughts are sort of what we base ourselves on and base our fears and emotions on. And it basically controlling that helps you can take control over your life. Another book that really influenced me was the happiness hypothesis, because that again takes ancient philosophies and puts them in a modern light and puts psychological tests on them. So it explains it to us in a way where it doesn't just become hippie thinking. It actually sort of makes it real because it has tangible outcomes. So therefore we as Westerners, because it's science, can believe in it better. And that really helped me in it. I've always had an interest in religions because my parents are very religious and they brought me up very religiously. I've never fell out with I fell out with religion, but never fell out with philosophy of religion. And I really enjoy it. And I've studied a few of them, not in great detail, but sort of superficially. And I've really enjoyed it. And that's why I enjoyed these past 2 books. However, all it would mean is that I would know how to make myself better, but I'd never implement it. So the way now I'm trying to implement it, and that came from the book The Miracle Morning that I've only recently started reading, which sort of gives you tips on how to actually implement all this knowledge that most of you already know. It's just that we always say, oh, we don't have enough time, or we don't have this, or we don't have that. We always put it off for the future. This book really sort of does help trying to sort of put things in a structured way so that you're able to do it. So I advise everyone to read that book. Another thing that I'm really, really interested in is history. And I try and read up a lot about history, because history is really important of how things work, and how our past has worked. It will give us an idea of how the future will become and how things change. This helps also in business, especially nowadays. We're at this cusp of things changing, business changing, and you have to look at how this has happened over the years and how markets have adjusted themselves to be able to deal with this new technology. And new technology is coming in so fast that we really are at this dawn of really new things happening and new areas being developed that we can get into. So that's really, really interesting, and that's sort of I need to learn much more about. I don't really have that much knowledge on it, but it's something I really want to concentrate more on. So what do I do to sort of help myself? So in the Department of Health, for example, I was very unhealthy, and that's again that's one thing.
You're going to talk about the government in the Department of Health.
No. When it comes to health, that is something really that is really, really important. It's something that I ignored for so many years. I was always overweight. I was always quite physically unfit, and I always said, "Oh, one day," and I blamed my genes, and I blamed this, and I blamed that, and I never just got along with it. But it's that one thing that is really in totally your control. It's probably one of the only things that you don't even have proper control over your mind, because you have all this other stuff coming in, influences coming in. But one thing you really have complete and utter control on is your body. So how can you actually succeed in anything else if you can't even control that? So I'm on the stage of losing weight and trying to taking control back of my body. So what do I do to do that? Basically, you eat simply and work out. So eating simply means cut out sugars that you know are bad for you. Cut out processed carbohydrates that you shouldn't really be eating in the first place, because, I mean, the man made it's mass-produced. You will really, if you think about it, you know it's not good for you. I have also quit eating meat and dairy. Dairy, it's more probably just for myself. A lot of people have their reasons why they don't eat it. For me, it really has helped my stomach. I feel much better for not eating it, though it is apparently a great source of animal fats and proteins. So it's up to you guys, people, what you rather do. Another reason I don't eat meat, and meat I don't for social reasons. I've always said I want to be able to quit eating meat because of obviously the meat industry, which we all know is awful on animals and awful on the environment. Though it's really hard to quit meat. It really, really, really is. I can, and it's not that you should as well. I'm not saying you should be vegan or you should be vegetarian. But I think the way we produce meat and the way we actually buy it is not the right way of doing it. Now, if you go out there and hunt something, go ahead, eat it. I would be fine with that. Also, if it sort of comes from grass-fed beef and is sort of done in an eco-friendly way, I'd agree with eating that as well. It's just that I can't afford that sort of stuff, so I've stopped eating that. I try and only eat seafood, which is from sustainable sources, because obviously overfishing is a problem. So those are those things. I also go to the gym. I try and work out as much as I can now, and it really, really is helping. I'm slowly losing weight. I've lost 15 kilos.
Crazy.
Honestly. Yeah, in 2 months. So it's coming off. Mindsets. From reading all these books, the things that I sort of try and do is one thing I've done is try and stop TV. TV stops you from thinking, and thinking is a good thing. You need to learn to observe your thoughts and use them in a way to actually be productive to you. Reading helps with that. So basically, less TV, read more. Also, getting up early. Getting up early is a big thing. Your mind is sharper when you do. You can get more things done before you go to work than you will do when you come after work and when you're tired. So that's one thing I'm doing. And a big thing that has really helped, and Alex got me onto that, delete your Facebook app off your phone. It stops mindless scrolling. It doesn't mean quit Facebook, because it is a great tool. Just have it in a place where you'd have to go and sit in front of a computer and use it. When you have it on your phone, you do just mindlessly scroll for no reason whatsoever. In business, that's something I haven't really done much thought on. I really do need to, but I haven't done much. However, I need to really, that's one part of, I would say that like sort of self-business. Obviously, I was running restaurants for years, and I've sort of taken myself out of it, and I have the knowledge of how to run businesses for somebody else. So I have got this knowledge, but do I read about it? Not particularly. It's something I really need to sort of read more about and be more aware of, especially when it comes to finances and all that sort of stuff. And also, because of all the other things, I am more focused. And so that will also help, I guess, in a business sort of sense. Where am I at? Oh, that never started again. So the changes we've experienced. So the changes I've experienced in those things, so in health, mindsets and business. In health, obviously, I'm losing weight, which makes me probably healthier, so less medical problems will probably come out of it. But because of my diet, I don't feel sluggish anymore. When I first, a couple of months ago, I was basically falling asleep all the time, and I blamed it on bad sleep. But I don't think it was. Yeah, I thought it was sleep apnea. I thought it was all kinds of things. But one thing I do is I sleep better. I am definitely have much more energy. I just barely nap. I'm sort of, it's unbelievable sort of the changes that you feel. It's hard to explain it to someone. You really have to sort of go for it yourself. And most people are probably watching this going,
It's the thing. I've had arguments with people wholeheartedly about like introducing other things to your body or going elsewhere outside of like just natural activity, because it's like your body's grown this way, you are formed this way with all the chemicals inside that you need, everything that you need. So when has it been a case of like being young, like look, there's obviously some deficiencies in people and that's but when is it, when you're young and everything's happening and you're healthy and active and you sleep and you rest and all of these things, it's your actions a lot of the time that lead to the various ailments that come across. So you at first you go, okay, am I living the healthiest way that I can, and then let me see if I can supplement whatever I'm doing.
Exactly. I think that's the whole thing. A lot of ailments can be probably made better by diet and by doing certain things for your body. And it's sort of, the one thing that sort of made me change is that I didn't want to end up like my dad, who was very unhealthy at a very old age. That doesn't have to be. I want to live till I'm 70 or 80 and still be very, very active, which is like my mum is. And for that reason, you have to look at your body now, which means, you don't want to have diabetes, you don't want to have high blood pressure, you don't want high cholesterol, you don't want all of those things. And that comes down to diet. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, sure, there are hereditary items, but you can stay on control of it by the way you eat. And the younger you start, the better. I have waited far too long to do this, and it's not like I didn't know this. Of course I knew this. Yes, no, but it is what it is. And I knew all of this. I just never did anything about it. And that's where mindset comes in. And that's where it sort of naturally leads. Mindset is so important. And that's where, by quitting TV and quitting all these sort of things that don't actually benefit you that much, you're able to then, I observe my thoughts better. That's something that I got from meditation. I got from the reading that I got, being able to sit back and observe thoughts and use these thoughts productively to make changes in your life. There's affirmations, there's visualizations, there's all these things that really, really do help sort of get yourself back under control and therefore become better in doing what you know what to do. All of us know what to do. We just struggle to do it and we blame other things for it. So that's sort of how my mindsets have changed recently. Again, on business, I guess, again, mindset again helped with that. So I've given myself more time. I'm more efficient. I have to look for my own jobs. I work as a freelance event manager at the moment, so I have to look for my own jobs. So having more time and sort of being more focused allows me to sit down in the morning and sort of apply for things and get things going and sort of making me more efficient. Also, finances have got slightly better. Mainly, I don't waste money on unnecessary food. I don't go out drinking or partying. That I'm not saying is a bad thing, but at the moment, I'm trying to get that under control. Time and place. So I don't spend on that. So finances are sort of just ended up better. So that's sort of all those points.
Sweet.
I'm
definitely going to need the timer for this.
Yeah, I'll time it all this.
Because we would go on that. So my present mindset and how I got here, I think, kind of following on from the first podcast, the one of the major changes was, walking out the recruitment and going, yes, I want to sing, and that was a big step for me, because it had me challenging all my old paradigms of, doing it for other people, doing whatever you're doing for other people because you hold their opinions in such high regard that it's at the behest of yourself. Stepping out, and then everything became a challenge, and because everything was challenging, I sought out knowledge. So like picking up a guitar, I was like, I need to be able to create music. I wasn't like Martin and Chooks, who were like, making beats and stuff like that sort of stuff, but I still wanted to create melody, so I went onto YouTube and started doing, the lessons on there, picking up different things. And that's when, I kind of got into the kind of research phase, and, it wasn't straight away in like 2009 when it wasn't then that I really dove into personal, self-help and personal development. I can't really put a. It was maybe 2013 or 2014 that I stumbled across Ty Lopez. And I think it was Akara that put me onto him. And it's really interesting because then from that point, everything kind of changed. Because Ty Lopez, I'll put the links and whatnot, he's the guy who did, at the time he was really on his reading. Now he's gone off and doing different things, but he was really on reading. And he set the challenge of reading a book a day, and he even did a TED Talk on it. It's a massive TED Talk. I'll probably put the link in there for YouTube. But so I started doing it, and the basic premise of it is that you read like enough of the book, the essence of the book, especially on the self-help side of things. So you generally find that you read the contents and you're like, okay, this is like, how to be happier most of the time, or how to deal with grief, or how to, and you'd be like, okay, cool, I want to know what that is about. And then you'd read the first chapter or the first couple of paragraphs, and that always gives you an indication of where this chapter's going. And you realize as you read these books that, there's two elements. One, they've got to kind of fill the page. I can't just give you, the essence of a book is 20 pages, but they can't just give you 20 pages and sell it for like $16.99 or whatever. They've got to give you examples, and it's fine, if take the examples, you want to read the examples, but you don't necessarily, sorry about the mic here when you hit the stand, it's hitting now. Yeah, you don't necessarily want all the examples, because a chapter would be like, this is the point, and here's 5 examples. So I looked into speed reading because I wanted to improve, but speed reading for me, I still need to really get into that, because I need to up my comprehension with the amount that you read at that speed. But I looked into it. You understand the different techniques, and I'll have to work on that. But I started he had this thing about, read about mindset, read about health, read about wealth, read about all this stuff that we kind of, we've squeezed them into mindset, health and business, but you can obviously separate them out into subsections. And he got me on to, from there, I kind of started reading autobiographies as well. And I really got into that. One of the major autobiographies for me will always be Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And when I say this, people are like, oh my God, what do you mean? I'm like, this guy was a millionaire before Conan. Before he made Conan, this guy, used his money from Mr. Olympia to then buy houses, to then study he was doing 4 college degrees at one time because it's meant to read the book. It is awesome. And it gives you a perspective, because when I first heard he was going to be the governor of California, I was like, are you mad? Like, Americans are crazy, obviously Trump thing is crazy, but I was like, Americans are crazy, how can they put this guy? Then I realized, so California has the same GDP as like other countries. And
third highest in the world.
Yeah, fourth highest. There we go. Cool. Time me again, because I'm keeping this to 15 minutes. And then, and this guy was like 2% of it. This is one human being being 2% of the 4th highest grossing entity in the world. So obviously there's knowledge behind that and whatnot. So he kind of put me on that. And as I read these autobiographies, they then sent me into places where you understand that you can't stop learning. I don't know where it happens. I don't know when it happens. Maybe we go into society and then we only force ourselves to learn more in jobs, like the job sends you for a course or this sends you for that. But you then stop learning. Like at school, you were doing 2-3 languages if you went to Y school or something, but like 2 languages or a language at least, and then you were doing maths and science and this, and you were flooding your brain, and your brain doesn't start dying when you leave. Do you know what I mean? And this will obviously be like nothing to all of those of you that have done masters and whatnot, and that's just your life and you continue. But for the mainstay of people, they don't realize that learning continues and growing continues, and opportunities only grow with the amount that because if you don't learn about the doorway that's there, you can't see the doorway that's there. If you don't read, look, actually I can go into coding, I actually find I like it. If you don't even give yourself that space or time, you won't get there.
It was Mark Twain who wrote, I think, a person who doesn't read is not better than a person who can't read.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Reading is that thing of improving yourself all the time and making yourself better and understanding more things.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's it. So the interesting thing with personal development, as you're developing yourself, it's like playing an instrument or meditating or anything. Your synapses just become quicker at identifying things. So even now, I'm trying to like break down a journey of how I've got to this place, and you're just like, unless someone's been through a similar journey, they don't understand that you read something once, let it ruminate, live, experience life, see how it applies, come back and read that thing again, and it's a total different depth. You're just like, yes, I get it to this point now, I understand. So, my journey to this mindset has been an amalgamation of so many different thinkers, from Les Brown, who's a motivational speaker, to someone like Gary Vee, Tai Lopez, obviously who's the big guy in the game, big giant, and Anthony Robbins, and like, so it's just an amount, and Zig Ziglar, and like I went into it. I started doing everything from reading and audiobooks as well, and what Neil mentioned, TV. It's a massive thing. It's a massive thing. Like one of my closest friends, Martin, he is like, I've never seen someone self-reflect like he self-reflects, like just consistently looping back on himself and replaying his actions and understanding himself as well as other people. And it's that self, that recognizing yourself and recognizing your own patterns and coming to terms with it. Because this is the thing, the information is constantly coming in from the outside. So you go to TV or you go to the mass media and you know, like, just cut everything that you ever think. Every single program that you watch is programmed to have you watch it, to entertain you, to light up endorphins, to make you buy something, to make you stick. Game of Thrones is just that. What's going to happen next? Is someone going to die in here? And you're waiting for the dying. You're waiting for someone to die. Just like as I said, the Facebook, on your scrolling that, you're waiting for the next cool post, but you're scrolling through dead posts, waiting for the next cool post. And this is what it's designed to do. It's designed to capture, get those emotions going. So this is the thing. Most people compare themselves to that. They compare their lives to that. They compare their wants and needs, and their wants and needs now get driven by that, by what someone else wants you to want. So why not come to terms with you? Why not come to terms with exactly what you want, how you want it? Yep, cool. It's my last 5 minutes. This is me waffling. And this is why, in the end, when it comes to my mindset now and how I've got here, so I'm just actually waiting for the timer to go, so I know I've got 5 minutes. Do it again, last 5 minutes. I'm going to rush through everything else, because I think this is the real point for my journey, was self. Understanding myself, understanding what I want, understanding what I need. Oh, massive! Hold on, this could be a bed delivery. Can you imagine that? In the middle of the podcast, I get a bed delivered. Yes, in the middle of the podcast, I get a bed delivered. So I walk away. Oh no, stay there. No, it's just something else. No, it's more. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. What's that for? It's for a mate just staying tonight. Oh. She bought a special bed for her? No, she bought it for herself. She bought it for herself? Yeah. She wanted to stay comfortable. Cool. Okay. Last 5 minutes. I've got a podcast.
You got
I got 5
10
minutes
on each.
No, it was 5 minutes each on each.
Okay.
Because 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, but 5 minutes split between. That's why it's like 15 minutes. Otherwise, that would be like 60 and a whole hour. Think about it. Cool. Yeah. All right, so start the timer, because I've only got 5 minutes. Lord. So I'm probably going to like fast forward all of this a little bit, even in the audio. Yeah. Sorry guys, I just got a bed delivered. Anyway, so last 5 minutes, this is what's really important, and why I've come to this journey is the self, and understanding what you want, understanding what you need. But more importantly, everyone talks about this, and you will hear it and you will hear it again, because it definitely has to be heard again, and it has to stick. Understanding that you're worth it. Understanding that whatever you want, you deserve it. Like, you actually deserve it. It's a weird thing, because you hear someone say it and you're like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. But it really is that. Unless you accept the fact that you deserve the thing, you really don't realize how much you do intrinsically to stop yourself from getting the thing. You really don't understand. Like, it's just like, you'll say, yeah, but don't deserve making that 10K. Are you going to ask for it? You wouldn't even begin to ask for it, because you don't even think that you deserve, the 10K loan to start this thing. Just like, Whereas people who are, and I'm interested for a friend of yours, you were saying like has that mentality where he doesn't think about what he deserves, he just goes and gets it. And it's, you know, either way, I'm sticking to the point. And that's a really, 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 really massive thing. And, you know, what you don't understand, going back to the TV point, is they have literally said it. You see something 8 times, it sticks. You see something multiple times, it sticks. That's why you see McDonald's. The adverts are there for a reason, because your subconscious is primed. It is simply that. Your subconscious does so much without your knowledge. You don't... You know, oh, I like that blue. How do you know you like that blue? Well, I tell you what, a couple of months ago, you were looking at that blue and you had a good feeling, and now you like that blue. That's it. You have no control over that. So you need to filter the things that come into your mind. And what better thing to do than cut the stuff from the outside that's trying to force you to do things, and implement and put in the stuff that you know will help you. Like reading about Nelson Mandela's story, or that for me anyway, you know, and hearing about people like Wangari Maathai, who is like the Nelson Mandela of Kenya, who is a female, you know, one of the first to win the Nobel Peace Prize, all sorts. It's like these amazing people and the journeys that they've been through and the struggles that they've been through, and then you can try and relate as much as you can, but you can't, because I'm privileged as hell compared to Wangari Maathai. Do you know what I mean? So that tells me that the possibilities for someone from that particular time, woman, all of this stuff, to achieve those things, why can't you? Like, it's just that. So things I do for mindset: read so much, as many different books as I can, as many different articles as I can on the various bits that I want to deal with health. I've always been sporty. I've always had the mindset to train. It is in me. If I don't train in the morning, my day is not the same. It is simple as that. So I went through a phase of challenges. I challenged myself with different things with health, and it's easy for me to challenge myself on health because I already get the endorphin rush. I understand it. I love that feeling at the end of the gym, and you walk in and it could be rainy as hell like it is today, and you might as well just be a sunny day. Your body's warm and you've achieved. And as you studied loads of different people, from Arnold to Elon Musk to just anyone who is riding there at the top of entrepreneurship or just, you know, happiness in life, they challenge themselves, and health is a massive part of that because it really does feed the mind. Business-wise, an interesting thing, because, and this is why I'm so intrigued with this and so intrigued with holding myself accountable to certain things, is that business is good. Elements of business are good where I enjoy it. And where I enjoy it is where obviously I'm comfortable. So, you know, one of the things and the changes that I want to implement, and one of the things that we're going to be doing is challenges and stuff like that, is the side that I don't feel comfortable with. And it is the admin side. And yes, you know, Tim Ferriss talks about outsourcing and things like that. And I'm not in that position right now to start outsourcing things. I don't want to outsource nothing. I can't. So I'm going to learn it. And as you learn things, when you do and are able to then outsource them or bring someone in, you know, you can
keep an eye on them.
You can keep an eye on it. And just like, so that's it. That's it. I don't even want to go on the changes I've experienced, because then I'd waffle on even more. But I think that's a nice little round of where we're at and how we've got there. And as I said, this is such a long game enterprise by the two of us. For all the things we want to squeeze in is just so.
No, but I think we'll end up squeezing them. That's the whole point. Why we're going to bring people in. Why we're going to sort of have different. We can go into more depth on different ones where we can bring people in to talk about it and talk about ourselves again, but at the same time we can just have it something just on us, on how we feel about something.
I think that's the thing. I mean, so just to kind of go to here before we go into the if we go to the podcast futures, so I've got a list here, a nice little list of because we were waffling last time, and it was good to waffle. It was part of what we do and part of how we chat. But just wanted to get some clear things. So the podcast's future is this, and what we're literally looking to give with this is, as you can already tell, we want to operate with massive amounts of integrity. It's something that I definitely took from, Gary Vaynerchuk and the way that he delivers absolute integrity about where we are and how we are and what we're thinking, so that it's not sugar-coated, it's nothing, it's just raw. Everyone lives this way. Everyone's got these thoughts. Everyone's got these doubts. Everyone's got the fears. Everyone's got the hopes. So let's work through it together. Let's share. Let's talk.
And it creates accountability for us
absolutely.
and for other people. Anyone who wants to
Absolutely.
partake in any of this, it by putting it out there in the world, you people struggle with accountability when it's just themselves, when they just say to themselves, oh, I'm going to quit this, or I'm going to do this. So let's say you say, oh, I want to get up early in the morning.
No one's watching you. That's the thing.
No one's watching. You're not accountable. So you just sort of, your alarm clock goes and you're like, not today. Because you're not, no one's standing above you going, wait a minute, you just said this. So we're doing this in a bigger scale, basically. We're basically putting all our thoughts and our intentions out there in the world and holding all of you accountable, like all of us accountable to you, to the world, that we're here to make ourselves better and try and achieve.
And that's the why, I think the first person who really drilled it in would be Anthony Robbins.
Yes.
And talking about, the why. What is, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And I'll from my part, and I'm sure you agree on some parts, is this. It's like, I am in this stage here with so much clarity of possibility. And the only reason why I'm in this clarity of possibility is the culmination of everything that I've read and all these thinkers that I have listened to. And what they have done is drum it and drum it and drum it. And then some of them, if not most of them, have gone on to show it as well. And this is the thing. You can go and watch them. And I really do recommend that you do, because the wealth of knowledge and the experience in which they deliver their messages is amazing. However, there comes a point for me, even in my mind, I've understood, and this is where they invite you to execute, is that there seems to be a space between them and myself. And they have got to a point where they're talking about things, and I appreciate their journey, but they're at a point in their journey where they are outsourcing and they are doing all these things. And they're achieving and they're moving forward. They can't come back in time to show me.
Would you say it's
point.
action, that difference, and that makes a difference?
Yeah, it's not only action. I was just saying, just on the point of what this is for me, it's like the accountability and the action, but also the raw delivery and display of people going, this is 0, this is an intention, these are the actions, and now here are the results. And even saying that, I got a little bit scared. I was like, you better get some results for this.
Well, this is the whole thing. We actually have to
get some results.
People. Otherwise, what we're talking about doesn't actually... It means nothing. It just means waffle.
But it's quantifying that as well. So for me, results are, going back to the subject, completion. Yeah, we're there. We've looped round to it. Completion.
It is completing things. I think that I was reading somewhere, and I can't remember who said it, about a vision board is no use without action.
Yeah.
You can visualize something and want something, but if you don't actually, and that's why sometimes some people don't call it a vision board, they call it an action board.
Yeah.
For that exact reason, because we all daydream and go, oh, I'd love to do this, and because I think this is the real truth. Deep down, we all know how to make ourselves better, and where we can be better.
Absolutely.
But we don't do it. We don't follow through on any of it.
Everything is rehashed.
Just some of it.
Everything is rehashed, and this is why I'm saying it's programming. People don't realize it. Like you have a choice to program yourself or be programmed.
Oh, none of this is new. I mean, even for everyone new out there who's saying any of this, this is ancient philosophy. Yeah. This is something that I've been interested in. All this stuff that we read now is all rooted in ancient philosophy.
Yeah. So you got to talk about Seneca and the Stoics and the way that they're too many.
It's been taught for thousands of years how we can to make ourselves better as man, or woman.
Keep it PC, boy.
Keep it PC,
boy.
But and it's the action in the end that sort of creates it. So that's what we're doing.
So I mean,
action.
this is going to be one of our few podcasts actually where it's just going to be the two of us. We will do like short little things, intermittently, but the main emphasis is sharing knowledge and having this discussion and adding it to a journey and finding and looking at others, having a little sneak peek into other people's journeys.
Other people who have already done things that we haven't done. That's a lot of them, and to see how and to help us and go, even like this week with Tom. We did a slight interview which will be next week. And he was mentioning about Gumtree and how he just put something out there, even though... And I did that for something for myself, and I got a reply in less than 24 hours of something that would really help me out.
And it's movement. Movement. And that's the thing. That's the future for this main entity podcast, which will... It's not new. It's not a new concept, but it's definitely going to be interesting. It's ours. It's our thing. It's our network, and whoever's listening and watching, please join it. Please, please be totally open in discussions.
Because that's part of our mindset. That we're trying to. Criticism is another thing. Yeah. That you really need to learn to take on board. It's something I've definitely struggled with.
There's definitely going to be there's going to be anything ranging from constructive criticism to trolling to whatnot, and that's fine, because that's I think that's one of the fears as well of people putting stuff out there, just like, oh, I'm just going to get trolled, or I'm going to get this, or I'm going to get that, and it's just like there's so much fear in that it's taking control over your mind. All those are just thoughts. Most of them have no actual impact on you or your life. If someone says something to you, it's up to you whether you want to take insult to it. It's up to you whether you want to react emotionally to something. It's really, really up to you. And generally, if you do have an instinctive reaction to it, like it happens naturally, try and analyze that. That's where mine's, again, that mindset of trying to, analyze yourself, mindfulness as they call it. Your little world.
You create it.
Or massive world, whichever one you.
But to move on, to the next point, we were saying that what we want to do to make things a little bit more interesting, that to do stuff, we wanted to set ourselves challenges.
So I always construct it like this is our channel, and they've got different programs. So challenges, mini series, which is our big thing, because this, as I said, it is a long road. The podcast, it's our long journey, and will it ever be completed? I'm not sure, but I'm definitely looking forward to milestones, looking forward to 10 episodes, 20, 100, whatnot, and we'll celebrate those different points.
And challenges
just mini things, those mini challenges, give those quick snappy completions that we can do.
Challenges forces action. So we can talk all of that we want about all these things, but we might not be implementing them. By setting ourselves challenges, it forces us to implement the things that we think about, learn, and that we want to actually do. And I think that's why it's personally fantastic for us. But another way, it's a great way of you guys viewing something that you might want to try and do yourself and see that it's successful, or where there might be problems where you can change it up to make it successful.
So the way we're going to structure it for now is that the challenges will be more visual. With I think we're doing a lot of things on Instagram, and we'll slide some stuff onto YouTube playlists, and then Facebook as well on general summaries. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how I'll put this visually on the video for the YouTube, but in terms of podcast and SoundCloud listeners and whatnot, if you just check out our YouTube channel and have a look at the mini playlists that we've got there. So we'll have challenge playlists, and then we've got our mini thoughts, our mini vlogs anyway. So if you want to check out that, let's put that in the background. So the first challenges that we have Neil, you want to talk through your challenge?
Yeah, so I've been recently reading up a lot, obviously, on losing weight or health, for an example. And a friend of mine brought me on to fasting about a year or two ago. And I sort of understand it. When you look at, as I said, I always like to look at religions. It's used in pretty much nearly every religion around the world as a thing to promote better health and to sort of better mental health. So I looked into it a little bit further, and then a friend of mine called me up about a week or two ago and said, "Hey, look, I'm thinking of doing a week-long fast. Would you like to join?" And I was like, "Okay, why not? Let's read some more into it." So I've read quite a bit into it, how it has benefits, not just on losing weight, but other sort of health benefits. So that's what I'm challenging myself to. I'm on my second day at the moment. I won't say too much because that will be all in the video blog that I'm doing on it. So that's my first challenge is health-wise.
So what do you think you'll learn from it? What are your expectations?
My expectations is the one thing that I'm really, really trying to get out of it is the realization of that we don't need as much food as we think we do.
Okay.
I remember there was apparently there was an ancient Egyptian text found that they said a third of the food that you consume is for your body, the rest is for your doctor. And that was written in, over 3,000 years ago. If it was so true then, I can't even imagine what it must be like now. And then another thing would be it's because I think it's more addictiveness. That's why we consume so much food. It's addicted to all these sort of things.
Yeah.
There are different. I'm not saying if you're a bodybuilder, if you're working on muscle and all that stuff. Look, you need to feed your body to build. That's a fact. But we probably consume the wrong things, and that's one thing that I want to just. It's cravings. I want to try and stop on.
Yeah.
And also sort of my addictive nature to food. Like even though I have been dieting and that, I still, I work past McDonald's and still go, oh God, I could kill for a burger.
Yeah. And that's it's the smells. It's like bakeries and stuff like that.
Absolutely, all of that, and I just want to. That apparently fasting and all that sort of helps with those things.
Yeah, and what are you expecting to happen? Do you feel that there's going to be particular reactions?
As I said, I don't particularly want to go into too much detail because that's all the detail.
No, it's not because this is like the preview
okay.
of what you're thinking. Then you can compare it at the end.
I mean,
plus I want to slice this up and make it a little things for you.
Cool. What I'm thinking. Apparently, these are the things that happen to you. You will crave food for the first 3 days.
Okay.
And then after that, your body will normalize itself and go, oh, okay, I'm not getting food. I'm just going to just process differently.
Okay.
So the process changes in your body.
Yeah.
Another thing that you'll finally get is that you'll sleep better.
Okay.
You'll be more focused.
Okay.
Your body obviously will go into ketosis, so where you're actually burning fat instead of glycogen stores. So that's where, of course, weight loss comes in better.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a few other things that are medical, which I can't check now. It'd be interesting if I maybe do this in the future. That we can find a doctor to go and get some real sort of checks, because I'd love to have a real doctor's opinion on all this.
Yeah.
It's just stuff.
I think for now, just like the whole point with these challenges is to tick at least 2 of the 3. So mindset, health, business. Yeah. This is definitely ticking the mindset and the health. And
and that's another thing. What's massive is it's proving that you can. It's taking control over yourself. It's something as a base, taking a base need out, like food, and going, I can control my own body. It doesn't dictate to me. Yeah. I can dictate to it. That's a massive thing.
There's a thing that Will Smith talks about. He goes, go running, because your body tells you to quit, and then you have to control your mind and your body to say carry on running.
Absolutely.
And that's where you have total domination, and you start having a little bit more domination over your existence.
If you can get it in one area, you can apply that to all areas. So when you start getting that feeling of, oh, this isn't working, oh, I want to quit, remember that time when you could do something, which going without food for X amount, or running a marathon, or whatever it is that you did to try and prove to yourself that you can do things. This is it.
Cool. Awesome. So that's definitely something we'll click onto on the next podcast, or maybe I just have a supplement little podcast where we talk about your results on that.
No, I mean, I'll go on the results again next week.
Yeah.
But hopefully next week we'll have the whole video logging every day.
Yeah.
Discussing it.
Yeah.
So
sweet. So my challenge is a song a day. Now that isn't actually it's an interesting thing for me because I do actually write and make songs all the time, constantly, and this has been a thing with my music anyway. I've made this a personal challenge for that because obviously I'm a musician. I've got Rozen Child, and you know, as I said, it's been a long time coming to actually push music out there, and finally got that in place with my manager Jody, and you know, that's one side. And this is the thing I thought you rely, like, he's a legend and he's already doing incredible things for me, and that's it. It's like that can go on and that can be great, but I also know that I can supplement and help his work by doing other things, and the way that the music industry is panning out now, especially for an independent, and that's why I consider myself an independent. You know, I wouldn't say no to a label, but I'm actually, you look at Chance and you look at all these people like, actually, yeah, it is fine. And you have avenues to become an independent artist. Everything, even with the signed guys, you're talking about someone like a Drake, who I think it's a couple of years ago had the Billboard top 50 in the States, and he had 25. He had an association with 25 of the top 50 tracks.
Oh, wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it? I mean, only recently.
Yeah, I mean,
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah,
they had to change the laws for that.
But Ed Sheeran's was an album in that sense, and I think that was a different thing because
he also wrote.
Yeah, I think
Justin Bieber's songs.
Yeah.
That were in the charts at the time, so he was involved with a lot of them.
So that's the thing. But the difference between, I think, Drake in the way that he did it, or the, like, he was a glitch. Like so it's not so I don't want to take anything from Ed Sheeran because Ed Sheeran's amazing. He's an amazing writer and amazing everything. Artist. This Spotify situation was a glitch because it's the mixture, and if someone wants to challenge it, please do. Just tell me it's different. But the way that I saw it was a glitch between the fact that now online plays were now being mixed with single charts. So before you'd specifically have this chart is being released as single and this song's being released as single, and I've got my album chart. What you're having is the albums out, what would be considered as album plays were now mixing in with charts, so anything becomes not specifically designated singles.
Yeah. I mean, that was how the music industry has changed, where before you would release maybe 3 songs to go into the charts as a single, and then you'd have your album. Now pretty much every song is being released, and then for especially rap and hip hop artists, they're also producing songs on the side where there are features on, and they're doing
which is what
Drake was doing. Yeah, which was they don't even go on. They don't even get on a mixtape. They don't get on it. They're just doing stuff.
So that's the thing. Either way, all of this leads to they both, and everyone is like signed or not, they're working hard and they're delivering, and it's this thing that comes across from. Yes, they've got the marketing, yes, they can push it, but their work, like, for them to be involved in so many tracks means, you know, music isn't as simple as what people think. Like, to get the track done, studio recording and doing like live, you're in the moment, and it's just heated, and you just express yourself, and you know, you can be forgiven to be off here or off there. With the studio, it's that perfect take, and you get that take. And it could be a perfect take in terms of like sonically, and it could have the right diction, and it, you know, it's just clear, and they're like, oh, that's nice, but emotionally it might not actually sit. So you do it again, and every single point could be done again. So you could sit in with one track that you could play live 7 times, and you know, within half an hour, but you could actually sing a phrase for half an hour in the studio. And just to get it right. And yes, there are magicians. Like, people have often said that like Jay-Z is a magician because he just comes in and does it and bounces out. And Tupac was like that. There's a little video, I'm actually going to drop that in there, where he's just like, you get in the studio, you come out, you get in the studio, you come out. Then that's it, it's locked off. And And yes, you know, there are artists that do things in a raw, authentic way, but either way, it's delivery, it's mass, and they work hard and they deliver. So this is why I'm doing this, because I want to create as much to supplement the main line of releases that, you know, Jodie's pushing for me, is make more music that can be mixtapes, that can be releases. I've recently done a Gangnam Style thing. That was interesting and fun, either way. So that's out there. But yeah, that's why I'm doing that. What I want to learn, it's less of what to learn, because I do this anyway, as you've seen. Like I got my new toys. I was like, make music. World is open. More world is open. So there's, I think, it's really just back on completion. Just back on a week. It's not very new to me, but 7 tracks, and you know, they won't be super masterfully completed, but they'll be done, vocals and everything, and arranged. And that's, you know, so I covered it. Why I'm doing that, what I think will happen, I'll just do it. Some will be good, some will be rubbish. Either way, they'll just get done, and they'll be complete, and I'll put it out there and document it. And I've got a few little, just mini 7-second.
Do you think it's also going to help to be a little bit more active than online?
Yeah,
trying to sort of get some more fan base that way.
I think that's it. It is that business side that I'm kind of, you know, from a generation that, I don't know whether do they call us Y or X. I don't know which one
we
is.
Still apparently still come under millennials because we were born in 1983.
Yeah, I mean,
we're the beginning of them. Which
I had a Sagem, man. I had a Sagem. I remember my Sagem. It didn't even have like I was like already an Android versus an Apple, because everyone was on Nokia. I was like, Sagem, I don't want your snake. So yeah, I had a Sagem, man, and you know, we've gone through all the things, to touchscreen to everything, and listen, I've got my little sister who's just like, like I'm seeing her post. She's posting on everything and posting everywhere. And it was such a change, and even doing this, and you know, we've had to fight so much around this, things like, are we being narcissistic?
I think that's one thing that the younger generation, we see this all as narcissism.
Yeah,
putting something out on, you know, why do you think you're that special?
Yeah,
and that was something that we've both had to overcome. We don't think we're that special. No. We don't even know if anyone's going to watch it. We're doing this for all the other reasons that we've mentioned. But yes, it's still something I've only just got onto Instagram because I had to, because of trying to promote this, and I still really struggle with it.
I'm really proud. I'm just like, see, this is the thing, like, it's, for me, this is the whole point. It's been instant.
Yeah.
And what's been instant is, like, I remember I sat down with you and we started talking about why you do this and why do, like, we're just like, everything was fear and frustration about posting, but you understood the premise of what this is about, so you instantly did it. Yeah. And whether uncomfortable or not, you instantly did it. Yeah. And to be honest, what did it easier?
What did it teach me? Absolutely nothing. It really hasn't. It's actually now become quite easy for me to do. My fears have gone. And again, what does that teach me? I can do anything. Like, if I had that fear, why can't I just progress to my next fear and just conquer that? And that's what we wanted to try and put on there.
And that's part of the reason why, you know, for me, it's that thing of, obviously we've got our thing ourselves and we're doing it, but reading those autobiographies and understanding that people have been through the same thing. They have been through the same worries, they've been through the same stresses, but some of these people have managed to achieve, whether it be, you know, and everyone wants to class it as this like fame and fortune stuff. I don't care about the fame and fortune stuff. The people who have just lived happy lives.
Doing what you want
to do.
That's the main thing. And is doing what you want to do.
That's the thing. It's just like actually understanding. It's like, yeah, so what? So we do a podcast like from before. Like, we are now on iTunes.
Yeah.
And for some people that might not be a big thing. For some people that is a big thing. That is actually like, oh, you guys are on iTunes already. It's like, yeah, we did it in a week and and we've done this and done that.
But we're creating and it's a creative structure.
Yeah.
That's going to help us be creative in the future, whatever we want to do.
And we have ideas, my lord. We
Yeah.
have ideas.
There's a lot
We
of
are
ideas.
no different to those other idea makers just doing ideas, and it's just like,
Oh, I remember when I worked in kitchens, I used to just work with other people and we would chat about what we want to do and ideas. And most people go, God, you like to talk. Like, it's just talking. That's all you're doing is talking. You're not, till you put things into action.
I think I
Then
see
it's
that.
different things.
I can't wait to get to people like to let Martin on, because like there's just things that he does. You can even see it in his communication. Like I'll text him stuff, and he will literally just dead it immediately. He'll be like, so I sent him like a preview of the music video. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. I'll rather watch it when it's finished.
Yeah.
Like just little things like that. And I think it's because he's surrounded by like world-class athletes, and they're supremely results driven. So it's just like, okay, now I'm doing a box jump. Oh, I need to get 5 centimeters on this. And they will work to get the 5 centimeters, and they just work on small targets and large targets all at the same time. And I think that via osmosis is literally just in the mind it's diffused into him, and he's just like, yes, this is the way, this is the results, and it comes to like on a micro level, languaging and how you speak to yourself, how you speak in the mind. Like I'm gonna find the book, and I'm gonna put it on there. Sorry for the guys listening to the podcast, but I think it's What to Say When You Speak to Yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's the book called What to Say When You Speak to Yourself, and I need to reread that to get the next but like even on the first read I was like, oh my God, what are you constantly saying to yourself? What are you actually saying to yourself? And you know, on a larger scale, what are you gossiping about?
Yeah. It's also like why you're doing it and why you're saying these things, and also the way you sort of express things. If they have a negative connotation, that can have a negative outcome on you.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, for example, I can't do something,
Yeah.
you go, I can do this, however.
Yes.
And sort of that's
Absolutely. Finding the alternative,
changes.
finding a solution. I think so. I think we've hit everything that we kind of want to hit here. So I'm just going to leave on my side with something that's like for me has been extremely important, and just a revelation that I just really didn't realize would affect me in this way, and that for me is coming from this self-worth side, and then trying to understand where and why my current state of self-worth is. And surprisingly enough, yes, you go back into your own history. Sometimes it's hard, and it will, in some places, some people might get emotional, and whatever. You might have had a beautiful childhood, you might have had a rough childhood. It doesn't matter, it's just where you are now, but finding out where you are now and where you want to go. Now, I had a beautiful, rough, crazy, all sorts of childhood, not dissimilar to other people. And so I went back and I thought on it and discussed it, and recently reconnected with my estranged father and spoke to him, and that was one side. And then, I'm a black man, and I've been introduced quite recently, to say the last year, to, you always know about Black history, but you don't really know about Black history. And there are things that I've had to deal with on a racial front that has affected my self-worth now, and just, sorry, we're going deep, I'm not even apologising. No. This is what we're here for. There are things that I've had to deal with from a black perspective that has also had a knock-on effect on what my value is. So if I put like a simple example in is, I dress this way. I like dressing this way. I've got to constantly combat the thought of, do I dress this way to be accepted, or I dress this way because I enjoy it? Two different things, right? I know the reasons why I enjoy dressing this way. I like to present myself this way. I enjoy the process of getting myself ready to this, because I haven't always dressed this way, absolutely not. But I enjoy the process of it's made me, and I've discussed this before with you, haven't I? I said it's made me think about more value.
It's routine. It's giving yourself a small routine that sort of helps you have a bigger routine.
It's routine and more. It's more than just routine.
It's like meditative.
It's more than just meditative. It's like this. It's like I take care of my clothes more. I take care of myself more. I carry myself with more pride, but less so actually when I think about it, because there's definitely an element of, you have to be honest, there's definitely an element of the way that people regard you, but there's also the element of yourself.
No, but taking pride in something.
Yeah, because you've carried yourself to a certain point. So that's what I enjoy about that. But on the other side, I do understand that when I go to the gym and I wear a hoodie, I'm not smiled at. But if I walk to the street like this, I'm smiled at. And that is something that I know a lot of people, a lot of different races in a predominantly white side,
But do you not think that, though, there are sometimes, like, there is that whole thing, but even if I walk down the street with a hoodie, I know that I'll be more likely to be smiled at. Yeah. But even still then, because
I can't. What I can't do is I can't speak on.
No, you can only talk
comparison. I can only go from my side of things, which is I have experienced a shitload of racism growing up and whatnot, from people who are vulgar-minded, from people who are meant to be educated, all of this stuff, and not that education actually, relinquishes ignorance or whatever, but I know that there's been a mold there. So, what's my point? My point is that I've learned a lot more about Black history. Now, learning more about Black history has done two things. First, you go on this, oh my God, and I don't want to belittle it because it still goes on and it is what it is. There is definitely an imbalance with races, and there's definitely been some hardships and whatnot. So I don't want to go, and that's another podcast. But you then go into Pride Zone, because then you then learn about, like I've learned a lot about African history, monarchs. There's like the lost city of Benin, which at the time was more advanced than Rome. People had underfloor heating, there was grid systems, there was sewage works, everything. And this was Nigeria before ancient Rome. So there's so much history that I'm just like, oh, this flips worth, and combined with the work that I've done from myself and my side, then I understand my mother's paradigm. Mm-hmm. I understand my father's paradigm. I understand everyone around me that constricted things, because they had to live in a constricted world, and this is the reason why they've had to live in a constricted world. So now I can step into a more open world, even though on the face of it is still constricted. I can say, no, a new paradigm can exist, because I looked at history and it did exist and will exist.
It's an interesting thing, because I haven't really ever struggled that much with self-worth. Especially because obviously I'm a white middle-class male from a very loving family that is still together. So self-worth has been something I haven't struggled with, even though you've struggled with it, even though you were a better athlete, you were better at school, you were better at what, most people would say you had every right to feel more, but because of your background and where you came from, and this is what I'm trying, my point is trying to settle on yours, is that if you do have these problems, these are things that you need to analyse to figure out why you feel these things, to be able to overcome them, and that's what you have done. He had no reason, in theory, on surface level, to feel this way, but you did, and you had to analyse yourself and your past to be able to do that.
It's a deal. That's the deal. So that's just wanted to share that, because it is, and the only reason why I've got to this place is through reading, is through understanding people similar to me, people who are not similar to me, and then overall you understand, and this is why I value this. I value this because I listen to Les Brown, I listen to Zig Ziglar, I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk. Who's the guy? Thank God it's Monday. E.T., the hip hop
E.T.
preacher. E.T., like, so I listen to someone who will batter you. Like, you need to do this, and you need to do this now. Who's it? There's another guy who does it, like a DJ Harvey or something, like a muscle guy. But, you know, it's like music. Like, this self-development stuff is literally like music. Sometimes I'm in the gym and I need some, like, do you know what I mean? Some like music.
Heavy motivation.
Sometimes I need tranquil music. Sometimes I need, you need the balance. It's the balance. Every single person can speak to you at a different time, and you can be receptive to the information at a different time because you're in different emotions, you're different emotive paths. And you need to open yourself up to that, because that's what TV programs are. Sometimes you want to watch a comedy, sometimes you want to watch an action, sometimes you want to watch a thriller. And it's like, for me, as a creator, as someone who wants to go out and create and do things and change things, I said this instinctively, especially with TV. It's like, I'm with my current partner because she doesn't watch TV. I love it. And I wanted to cut out TV. And this is the reason why, because it's like working for someone else, and there's nothing wrong with working for someone else. Everyone choose whatever you want. It's, you are watching or you're working on someone else's dream.
Creation, yeah.
They sat down with a piece of paper and wrote this TV program. They sat down and drew up the business concept. This is their dream.
Especially for you as a creator.
Yeah, they worked at it. They saw it on a piece of paper. They saw it in their mind. Then they created a little bit, and they built it and built it and built it to the point where you are now on Netflix, and you've clicked yes, and you're watching it, and that's cool because it can inspire you. But it is the fact that
it shouldn't come in the way of your own creation.
It shouldn't come in the way. It shouldn't be the thing that you procrastinate to. That's the thing.
Yeah. You should be creating.
You should be creating in that space. And then once you've created, you've done anything, okay, this is my time. This is my time to then wander and be mindless and let myself take information in.
But binge watch House of Cards for a whole day does not count as that.
I tell you what, there are times in my life, and they are connected, as I said, with a lack of energy or depression or whatever. That I watched So You Think You Can Dance, season 1 to season 7. Like, I just didn't stop watching it. That was when I first got made redundant. I was like, I just watched it. And I was Paso Doble. Ooh, lyrical dance. Oh, that's nice. And it's interesting because I did actually learn. This is the thing, as long as you grab some things, I suppose. I learned a few songs.
I think that's also excuses. I mean, that was a lot of the excuses I would give, is that I watch informational TV.
Yeah. I watch documentaries.
I watch documentaries. So therefore, I am actually learning. There is some sort of point to it. But again, if you're stopping yourself from actually doing something and progressing with your own life, then what are you really learning out of it? I mean, there are things that are good for you to learn. There's some things that are bad for you to learn. I think Sherlock Holmes famously doesn't know anything about the universe or anything to do with that, because for him it was completely and utterly unimportant in his life. It had no relevance to him whatsoever. So when him as being the all-knowing person was asked about it, he was like, no, I have only X amount of capability of information to hold, and that is something
in my mind palace.
Exactly.
For
me, I think to end off on what I would like people to think on is, you need to take yourself out of your comfortable zone. If you really want to change your life or do something different, you will never be able to do it in your zone if you're comfortable. If you don't take yourself out of that comfortable zone, it's just not possible. It's basically, to change takes hard work, and it might, if you've got like something you really want to do, start small. Start something, as I said, that you are in control of. And work your way up from that. And yes, it's difficult, especially when you've got family or if you've got kids and you've got work pressures, which means then you're going to have to, you can't just quit your job because you have to provide. That means you have to then make slight changes that takes you out of your comfortable zone to be able to, so for example, quitting TV and therefore working on something. There's no point in working an 8-hour job, coming home tired, right, and then not working on something that you want to do yourself to be able to make a better life for yourself. That's why the Miracle Morning, I will say everyone have a look, that talks about trying to do everything early. That's it. It's basically, if you want to change something, you have to take yourself out of your comfortable zone. And that is one of the hardest things, I think, for most people, especially.
I think we're going to have to brand comfortable zone after you.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like comfortable zone because it's comfort zone. But you just like, it's
Yeah,
like comfortable.
I
I'm going to know, I like it.
Yeah,
I actually like it.
zone.
It's my comfortable zone. I like it.
Yeah, it's I mean, we all done it for, I mean, all of us are probably, not all of us, there's probably lots of you out there who are really, really good with it. But all of us, a lot of us sit back and just mindlessly watch TV or go, I don't want to go to the gym today, or I don't want to go for this run because I'm more comfortable sitting right here and doing nothing. But yeah, you won't ever achieve anything in that.
We'll talk about tools and things, different things like that.
Oh, there's loads of ways of
so many different
tools
so
of
many
overcome.
different tools.
It's just that you have to be aware of it. You really have to be aware that nothing is going to come from being basically in the same position.
It's self-awareness. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I think, isn't it? Einstein said, if you're trying the same thing over and over again, trying to get the same result, that's basically madness. That's the same thing. When we all expect our lives to change, but don't do actually anything to change it.
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Well, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna just sort of peace out on that one.
Yeah. Just
Thank you for listening. If you have liked what you've heard, please share it with your friends and family.
And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.